to be more violent.
There's no way to be committed to nonviolence in the middle of the most violent society that history's ever created. I'm not committed to nonviolence in any way.
Why was more violence the answer?
You know, I wouldn't argue that more violence was the answer, but I do think
but those are your people.
Well, you know, what she said is I'm not committed to nonviolence. And
Mark Rudd was part of your group.
He was part of the Weathermen faction of SDS. He actually was never in the Weather Underground, but he was part of the...
But you were upping the violent rhetoric as well.
There's no question. Our rhetoric was, you know, outstripped a lot of what was going on. There's no question.
All right, folks, welcome to Gimme 5. Megyn Kelly recently interviewed Bill Ayers. Bill Ayers, the former head of the Weather Underground. They blew up bombs. Many believe they're responsible for the death of a police officer in San Francisco. They were responsible for the death of 3 of their own who exploded or blew themselves up while building bombs. So Megyn Kelly got a one-on-one with, I guess you can now call him professor, because he is a college professor. He also was believed to have been a friend of Barack Obama. You know, Obama denied it during the 2008 campaign. I never palled around with him. He was just a guy in the neighborhood, just somebody I waved at. Hello, Bill. Turns out, of course, reportedly, according to many sources, Barack Obama started his political career in the living room of Bill Ayers and his wife, Bernadine Dohrn, who you saw in that video saying she's not for nonviolence. How you could ever associate with people like that is beyond me. But Barack Obama did, and when people brought it up, somehow you were being, you know, racist, and it didn't matter. It should have mattered, and it does matter. And get a load of this. Megyn Kelly asked him about Sergeant Bergdahl, and here's what he had to say.
I think Bo Bergdahl, if he deserted, that was an heroic thing to do. Absolutely. Nobody knows if he did or he didn't. But I did blog about that because I think throughout history we should build monuments to the unknown deserters, the people who look at the craziness that they're asked to participate in and say, I'm not part of this.
All right, so Bergdahl and all deserters are heroes. Okay. By the way, there's also rumors and reports that Bill Ayers wrote Barack Obama's book. One of the books at least. No proof there, but that has been speculated upon. Now, more from Bernadine Dohrn. You ready for this? Watch.
Bernadine Dohrn was not a fan of the police and referred to them typically as pigs.
Sisters and brothers, a year ago we blew away the Haymarket Pig statue at the start of the youth riot in Chicago. The head of the Police Sergeants Association called emotionally for all-out war between the pigs and us. We accepted. Last night we destroyed the pig again.
It's 2.5 weeks since Fred Hampton was murdered by the pigs who own this city.
Well, that was, again, the inflated rhetoric of the time. Yes, the Black Panthers did that. We did that. Yes.
Yes, they called them pigs. He says he wouldn't call them pigs now, but he doesn't really like the police, especially the ones in Chicago. He accuses them of torture. More.
You take a situation like Chicago today, the police are a violent, out-of-control enterprise in Chicago today. The shooting of unarmed people again and again, the stopping of people on the street, the endless arrests in the black community. Do you refer to
them as pigs today?
No, I don't, because I hang, no, not really. We hang out with them at the coffee shop and talk to them, but we disagree. When you look at the Chicago Police Department, which has been involved in torture, and this is documented, been involved in torture, which has freed people off death row in the last 5 years because of a systematic practice of torture and forced confessions and so on. And these police officers are, every one of them isn't guilty, but every one of them is part of the conspiracy of silence. Absolutely.
All right, and he is an unrepentant terrorist, in my view. Watch.
You realize people could have been hurt. You admitted that at the beginning of the interview.
I said people could have been hurt, and thank God they weren't, and we made every attempt not to, and they weren't.
But do you appreciate the recklessness of that?
I don't say it wasn't reckless.
Who are you to potentially endanger the lives of those individuals who may have been in or around those buildings?
I don't say it wasn't reckless, and I don't say it wasn't illegal. It was illegal. We crossed lines of legality.
It's so much bigger than that,
We crossed lines of legality, maybe common sense.
You could have murdered somebody with those bombs.
And we didn't. But actually, the people who were conducting the war in Vietnam did actually murder people.
And so the answer is to then make yourself a murderer as well?
All right. To justify his actions, he brings up Vietnam. She said he's like Osama bin Laden, and I think she's right.